Good afternoon, everyone. It has been quite some time since I have done a video. And to be quite honest with you, it was because I just got bored of it. I just couldn't think of anything I wanted to talk about. And then I got kind of in my head and decided, who wants to hear me anyway? And I just kind of got bored of thinking about trying to make videos and being creative, because obviously I was not being very creative, or I could have come up with stuff to talk about. So that's the reason for the absence. I do enjoy making shorts and putting those up and reels on Instagram um, sometimes, but making the long form videos, I just kind of quit. But today, I thought of something I did want to talk about, and this is for the, older crowd. If you don't know, it's been a while. My name is Judy, and I'm 68 and a half, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about what I've learned in retirement. Now, granted, I was ill at 56, and I went out of work at that age. So I was retired, kind of, sort of, but actual retirement where my husband is now retired and we're both here at home together, like the full-fledged retirement thing, just what I've kind of learned. So the first thing I learned, and some of this is going to sound like grouchy old lady stuff, and I don't mean for it to, but the first thing that I learned was I don't have to do anything I don't want to do. And by that, I mean, if I don't want to go to a silly baby shower or a silly wedding or a party for someone, I'm very, very introverted, almost to a fault. And when I was younger and I had a lot of friends and I had more energy and I had things I did want to do and participate in, I went sometimes begrudgingly. But now in retirement, I don't have to. If people want to go out and have drinks or go to a party and socialize and do it, that's fine. Do it. And I know a lot of older people still enjoy doing that. I am not one of them. And the guilt of saying no to things has left me. It's not a factor anymore. So that's a grouchy old lady thing, probably right there. Another thing that I don't have to consider anymore is worrying about meals, cooking. When he was still working, of course, I made, dinner. It's the way I was brought up, and I liked it. I liked being a homemaker, and I liked cooking the meals and doing the, what would be considered the woman's work, I guess. I know I'll probably get ran off of YouTube for saying that, but there's nothing wrong with that. My dream was always to be a homemaker and have kids and be able to stay home, but I wasn't born in a time where that was possible. Things were too expensive and everybody had two incomes. You had to. So, but even though once I went out of work, I still, took care of the house and made sure that, he had dinner in the evenings and stuff, because he deserves it. He was leaving, driving an hour one way to work and an hour one way back, and, he deserved to have the comforts of home. But I don't have to worry about that anymore, because he's home now, and, a lot of times we won't eat, or it'll be sandwiches, or we'll go grab something real quick, like Chinese food. We finally found a Chinese restaurant out here we both like. And I just don't, it's not always top of mind. So that's kind of a relief, because when I want to cook something, I go all out and I get the ingredients and I make it, and we have it for like 2 or 3 days. And so it's not a have to, it's a want. I want to. Also, something that I've learned in retirement is how small your circle gets. your circle of friends get. I know that for myself, over the last 3 years, maybe 4 years, how much my circle of people has shrank. And it's nobody's fault. It's just that when I was at work, when I was working, I worked in the medical field, and I worked at many different offices and hospitals, and I amassed a huge friend group. And most of them were pretty good friends. I mean, it was more than just acquaintances. We worked together for 25 years. So, you know, they're not around anymore. Some of them have moved on. Some of them I've just lost contact with. Some of them the good Lord has taken out of my life, including some family members, not by death, but because they were not good for me. And you're hurt about it at first, and you think, wow, I'm lonely. I don't have really that many people left in my life, but you can't look at it that way. You have to look at it like you're at peace now. You don't have all the phones and the do this and do that and come here and come there. It's really a blessing to be able to have lived as long as I have, even though parts of it really stink, but it's there's just a real peace about it. And I will say that you need to prepare yourself kind of mentally for it, because like for myself, I'm not the type of person that likes to fly. I'm terrible in a long car ride. I mean, I really don't like traveling. And people are always like, oh, you're retired, so do you have plans? Are you going to go on vacation? Are you going to handle? And when I say no, I'm not into that, they'll be like, are you okay? Are you depressed? Are you all right? And I'm perfectly fine. I'm not fine if somebody tries to make me get on a plane and fly across the ocean, or if we have to drive 8 hours to get someplace. I am not that person. To my husband's dismay, somewhat, if I said, let's pack up and go, he would, but he's not going to force the issue, because he's fine here too. And that's the thing that you have to prepare yourself for mentally, honestly, is the quiet time. Now, some people can see that as lonely, but there's a difference between loneliness and being alone and being at peace. And that's what you have to prepare yourself for. There's a big difference. So you have to make sure that you're okay with yourself, and that you know yourself and your morals and your wants and desires. And, the days go by pretty quick. So that's just, me. A lot of retirees just love to travel and won't sit still for more than 10 minutes, but that's not how I am. And then, like I said, being alone and being lonely are two different things. I think throughout my whole lifetime, even when I was young, I cannot really remember a stretch of time where I can say, oh, I was so lonely during this season, or anything like that. Because I mean, of course, I'm human. I really am, even though some people might question that. And so sometimes, of course, I feel lonely, or it would be nice to have someone to talk to or something like that. But as far as being lonely, there have been very few times that I can really say that I was lonely. Now, some people think that lonely to them is if they don't constantly have something to do or have people around them. So I'm blessed that I don't feel that way, that my mental attitude is down a different path, I guess. Also, if some of you are watching this video and you had been with me for a while, thank you. And thank you for staying subscribed, because you never know what I might do. So I have a couple of updates. I had the surgery on my skin cancer on my head here. Very traumatic. Last January. Very traumatic. And I have one right up here that I'm not willing to deal with at this point, and it's getting bad. And so it's out there. I mean, I'm not dealing with it. And also in 2022, I lost both my dogs 5 weeks apart. And I went into 2020 wasn't easy for any of us, but we didn't have a home to call our own at that time. We were living with in-laws. It was extremely stressful on more than one level. And then in 2022, I lost my pups, and we had moved into our home at that point. I was not in a good place at all. And finally opened up to my doctor. I think I've talked about this before in another video. And she put me on an antidepressant, which I'm not opposed to. We need it sometimes. I definitely needed it because and I took it for a couple of years, and I started feeling better, and I, talked to her about stopping it. And she told me no, to my disappointment. But I thought, well, she's the doctor. Maybe she sees something I'm not seeing, Maybe I do need to just be on it. Well, in 6 more months, I saw her nurse practitioner, because my doctor actually had decided to retire. And I told her I had discussed, getting off the antidepressant before. And she goes, yeah, we can do that. Did you talk to Dr. S about it? And I said, yeah. And she said, no. And she talked to me for a long time, and she said, well, we'll get you off it. She weaned me off of it. And it's been, that was December. And I finally weaned off, I think it was like 2 or 3 months ago, maybe 4 months ago. And I'm good. I'm good to go. I feel great. I don't need that kind of help anymore. And, at first I will tell you that I thought I might need to go back on it, because I was having some pretty severe anger issues for whatever reason, and lashing out and just being nasty and hateful. And there was no reason for it. And I realized what I was doing, and I tried to get a handle on that end of it. And because that can be part of it. And I think that was part of the withdrawal, it manifested itself in that way with me, more anger than sitting and crying and thinking the world was coming to an end. So I got a handle on that, and I stayed off of the medication and got through it, and here we are. So yeah, except for these, cancer on my head and inside my ear here, and, all that and stuff that you deal with when you are older, life is good. I have a great attitude, and things look good. And, you grab hold of every minute that things are good and things are peaceful, and you're fine, and you have a roof over your head, and you have food to eat, and you have 2 or 3 people that really love you, and that's all you really need. That and God. So that's where I'm at, and that's where I've been. So I'll try to make more videos soon if I can, think of anything else to talk about. So leave comments. I've missed you guys, and I will see you soon.